Hey guys, this is Roxann Smithers with Smithers and Ume-Nwagbo, your trusted 360 general counsel, and this is a note from my legal pad. Hey guys, this is part 2 in our 3-part series about having your legal house in order. So we want to remind you, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Okay? So in part 1, we talked about corporate governance. And in this part, we're going to talk about your contractual rights and obligations. So we're talking about contractual rights and obligations. And we're going to start with financing agreements. Understanding any ways in which you or your business has sought outside funds to help either start, operate, or expand your business. So those can be investment agreements, individuals or entities who have put a specified amount of money or other value or assets into the business in exchange for an interest, an ownership interest in the business. Understanding how much interest they are receiving, or if there are any limits on their ability to act or manage the business, and if there's a process to pay back that investment, any guarantees associated with that investment. Next type are loans. Anyone who has temporarily given money or other assets to your business. Understanding and having in writing the terms of that loan, the amount of that loan, whether there's interest, when payback has to start, when the balance of that is due, rights and obligations if there's a default or breach of that loan agreement. Revenue or profit sharing agreements. Again, understanding what's the percentage of the revenue, what's the percentage of profit, how are those items defined and calculated, when are those payments required, if there are specific reporting obligations, audit obligations, or other rights that an individual may have to confirm the calculations and to review corporate records. And then finally, security or financing agreements. These may be used to fund purchase of real property, a building, land for your business. And understanding the assets that have been pledged as collateral for that debt. Is it the equipment that was financed for the purchase? Is it the land or the building that was purchased with those funds? Is it the revenue that you're going to get from financing a purchase order? Could it be your storage and other facilities or other assets of the business that are listed as collateral for that loan? And what may happen if that financing or security agreement is breached? In the same vein, you want to make sure that your assets are protected. They're identified and they're also protected. So that's knowing your rights and obligations if you're leasing property or you're leasing a location. Making sure that you have proper deeds or titles to assets, and understanding if there are any liens, mortgages, or other encumbrances on those assets that may limit your ability to transfer title, to sell those assets, or use them as collateral for additional financing. Intellectual property is an asset that people oftentimes forget to take into consideration. Who owns the intellectual property that is adding value to your business? It's owned in your personal name, either transferring that ownership to the business or having a licensing agreement for those assets. If intellectual property has not been protected, making sure that you trademark, copyright, or in some cases, obtain a patent for that intellectual property. And if you have trade secrets that have significant value to the business, making sure that you have a process to maintain the confidentiality of those trade secrets in order to protect that value. The final other assets that you want to look at and contractual rights and obligations is your human capital. Do you have the right people in the right places? What does your organizational chart look like? And what's the combination of permanent staff, third-party vendors, independent contractors, or part-time staff that help your organization run? Do you have clear job descriptions and expectations for every person or entity that's on your organizational chart? Do you have a succession plan if you're an older business owner and you're thinking in terms of the next generation for your business? Speaking of staff and succession planning, do you have employment or independent contractor agreements with your staff or with the vendors who are helping to support your business? Do you have employee handbook for the employees? Or do you have standard operating procedures or SOPs for your independent contractors? So that it's very clear how everyone should be playing their part in your organizational chart. And in the same vein, have you thought about restrictive covenants in those relationships with either employees, or independent contractors? Do you have any limits on the ability of individuals to share confidential information about your business? Pricing, customer lists, recipes, ingredients, process for how you deliver your services or your goods? Do you have limits on individuals' ability to solicit your employees away from your business, either by other employees, independent contractors, or customers? And finally, do you have any limits on an individual's ability to compete with your business once they are no longer part of your organization? Are there geographic limits? Are there limits with access to your customers? Are there limits to access to provide similar services? You'll want to think about those items as well as you are getting your house in order and knowing whether or not you have contractual rights that will protect you in those areas. And this is just a bit of a taste of the contractual rights and obligations that you need to think about as you're getting your house in order. And again, the goal is if we stay ready, we won't have to get ready. If you'd like more information from the attorneys at Smithers and Ume-Nwagbo, you can go to our website at STU Law Group. You can find us on Facebook or LinkedIn. And this has been a note from our legal pad.